It's time to join the psychic connection. For thousands of years, man has been accumulating knowledge, yet essentially he remains a stranger to himself. He's crossed every frontier, navigated every ocean, yet he dares not probe his own psyche. For all his venturing into outer space, he hardly dares to take the initial steps into his psychic self. Yet there are some of us who do dare to see beyond sight, to hear beyond hearing, to breach boundaries, to leap beyond known frontiers.
In Paris, a man bends a metal bar by stroking it. The metal is so strong it is used in the construction of the Concorde jet. He is also able to move objects from a distance without touching them or using any physical force.
You've just been born,
A girl in Arizona who died at the age of 11 takes on life again in the body of her niece, a woman born 20 years after the death of her aunt. A man in Houston, Texas, materializes dozens of objects. In Canada, a crystal skull, which many believe to be a 23,000-year-old computer, warns us of the evils of our day and speaks to us of the future. This woman is hypnotized and regressed to a prior life. Instead of a normal return from under hypnosis, she goes forward into time and warns us of nuclear catastrophe.
What was it you saw?
In South America, a German doctor who died in 1917 uses the body of a living doctor to perform actual surgery. He uses no anesthesia, no antisepsis, and no antibiotics.
These are some of the men and women who are probing the magic of man's psychic being. I'm Alan Newman. I invite you to join me, to participate in this inquiry into the miracle of ourselves, to become part of the psychic connection. What you're about to see is what we saw as we saw it. And what we saw, we believe to be the truth. Even so, for all our diligence to authenticate every occurrence that is presented here, it is entirely possible that at some time we might have been misled. We believe that it is hardly likely. Nevertheless, it is a possibility. So we ask you to see for yourself and judge for yourself and make up your own mind. We're in a schoolroom in Mexico City where some children are being blindfolded. What we hope to witness is a demonstration of skin vision, seeing, without the use of the eyes, through one's fingertips. How's that done?
Well, we really see through the brain, not through the eyes. The eyes just take the information to the brain. So what we do is we change the entrance of information, and in a way, the whole body, the whole energy of the body is the channel for the information, but the brain still is the one that sees.
Now, the children are being blindfolded. Then we're going to give them pictures or pages in a book?
Yes, or magazines, yes.
Magazines. And they will attempt to identify it for us.
Yeah, they will see it. Usually there's a little point near to the nose where they can see it through. So that's why we put this tape near the nose.
Colors? May I have that magazine?
Sure.
I'll pick a picture. And I'll give it to boy.
Well, we have this idea, we have just one sense, that is touch. And it manifests in many ways. We begin with feeling the energy. As a little child is born, he just feels first. Then later we began to develop other senses like sight or ear or smelling also, for example. It's very difficult with the adults, very difficult. The children doesn't have all the social, cultural garbage we have. Most of them, they don't believe it at first. They are contaminated also, but they believe it sooner than the adults.
Somebody's raising a hand here.
¿Qué ves ahí?
La hoja es blanca, aquí dice Martín, estrategia. Aquí hay letras negras chiquitas que no las alcanza a
Muy
distinguir.
bien. Así está bien.
Yes, now.
There's some penguins. There's white in the page. There's some letters saying mating strategies.
Yes, she said now, because I heard her, mating, and she said, did she identify the penguins? And she described white on the page.
And there are some little words here that she doesn't
Yes.
understand.
No, es una botella y dice, metaxa.
Okay, gracias. In the bottom she sees some black, and she first said she saw yellow and something for eating. Later she said that it was a bottle, and it said metaxa, and it's like kind of a brandy, and it's yellow with red.
Yes, so she did extremely well.
Todo lo que veas en agua. ¿En dónde están las letras blancas? White letters here, it says.
So now would you translate then, Carlos?
Okay.
We had white letters.
He said first, I see two cars.
Two colors.
I see black, and then I see white. You know, letters here, white letters. And he says white letters here also.
Well, we have a single car, but it looks, it's split, it's on 2 pages, and conceivably it could feel like 2 cars too.
Yo veo color negro, blanco, una persona.
This is black color, white color, a person, and some letters.
Actually, it's not a person, but it's not anything else I can recognize either. All right, we have a young lady here.
Okay, ahora sí.
Hay negro, por aquí hay azul como un vestido de un sillón con florecitas. Hay letras, hay unas letras blancas
¿En dónde las ves?
por aquí.
Colors.
She says black, and she says some green flowers with a share and some white letters. Let me just see. Sometimes
Sometimes
they
see
began
through
to see through.
See through it. Well, if we saw through it on the next page, there's green flowers
And the white letters.
and the white letters, but also she did see the shirt here and the man.
Claudio was born blind, so we follow a different method with him. We first give him colors, so he can accommodate the colors, and it's like a warming up for him.
It's as if he warmed up.
Yeah.
All right, and now he has a magazine.
See, rojo, there's red, he says.
Red.
Yellow.
Red and yellow. If he has never seen, how can he know what colors look like?
Well, his training has been through feedback.
In other words, you have practiced it and worked with him,
Yeah.
so he knows what yellow would feel like. But for the sighted children, why do you do this?
Well, we do this because it's to open in them some new ability, and it's the door for raising their consciousness. So that's our main purpose, to raise their consciousness.
Let's
Yes,
remove
please.
the bandage.
Okay, se pueden quitar las vendas ahora.
If they were going to try to see what this... Children learning to play psychically, and then learning skin vision, becoming very adept at seeing through their fingers. Are they so successful because they are children? Because they're not afraid to try, not afraid to believe, not conditioned with an adult's fixed ideas and skepticism? A word of warning. If you are disturbed by the sight of blood, it would be advisable for you to look away during the following sequence. A warning bleep such as will precede the surgery. 2 bleeps will indicate an all clear. We have no substitute way of showing you what took place except to let you see it.
As we travel about the world, we become increasingly aware of alternative methods of healing. There are many within our medical profession who are exploring other methods in an attempt to increase our knowledge and to further the healing arts. We are in Baguio City, 200 miles north of Manila in the Philippines.
With me is Dr. Norman Shealy, neurosurgeon and director of the Pain and Health Rehabilitation Center in La Crosse, Wisconsin, USA. Dr. Shealy, why are you here?
Alan, I'm here to observe healing because suffering does not always respond to conventional medicine.
Another scientist observing is Dr. Elmer Green, a psychophysiologist from the Menninger Institute in Topeka, Kansas.
That they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me, because thou hast loved me before the creation of the world.
This is healer Tony Alcantara. He is performing psychic surgery.
Thy name, and will make it known in order that the love with which thou hast loved me may be in thee, and I in thee.
Psychic surgery is a technique in which the healer appears to part the skin with his bare hands, using no instruments. The patient claims to feel no pain. Fingers are inserted into his wound to remove whatever may be causing the illness. The wound is closed with cotton. There is no scar.
In heaven, give us their daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
It's real blood.
That is real blood. No doubt about that.
It's a large opening, Dr. Sheila.
Before I will leave. Before I will leave. Sure. Aye.
Brother Tony, what do you do when you heal the patient?
The spirit guides directed that this needs material operation or spiritual operation or the magnetic healing.
Brother Tony, do you charge your patients?
No, because this power is what they call, this is love, and it's only my obligation, my duty to help to spread this love.
This psychic surgeon is Delano Santiago. He works in this chapel in Manila. Our camera's coming in for close-up.
Doctor? Yes? Come on, touch the leg.
He invites Dr. Sheely to place his hands inside the wound.
Come on, try to have your concentration so that you can feel the wound inside. Because if you don't have any concentration, the wound, you cannot feel it.
Removing some cotton filled with blood and matter, placing it in a formaldehyde bottle, which we will take later on for examination.
The bottle.
Delano's asking for another bottle, another specimen.
Yes.
Small imprint remains, but no blood, no scar. This healer, whose patients come from all over the world, is possibly the best-known Philippine psychic surgeon. His name is Tony Hackpower.
Dr. Sheely, was it real blood?
Yes, indeed. We had it analyzed in our pathology laboratory.
Dr. Green, as a scientist, is psychic surgery real or is it just an illusion? Fake?
Well, I would regard it as something that is totally not a fake in the cases which can be verified with cameras, etc. There are many fake occurrences, maybe, but when they are genuine, the question is not, is it happening? The question is, how does it happen? What it means to me is that we just have to study these phenomena in much greater detail because there are alternate realities.
And doctor, the name of this patient?
Helene Barnes.
We're in San Francisco in the office of Dr. Don Kimbrough, one of California's leading internists.
A man named Stuart Schwalbe, who is not a doctor, will attempt to perform psychic diagnosis on patients he has never met before.
I think there has been or is a minor problem with circulation.
Sure.
Is that true? I guess in some way Dr. Kimbrough affects the heart, which is in good shape, I think, but has some effect on it, or it could in the future. Any allergy complaints or dust particularly bothersome to you?
Right.
Pardon me?
Old dust.
All kinds of
No, old
old dust?
dust that has sat around 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm allergic
That's what I said.
to it. Yeah.
I didn't know it was old, but dusty.
Yeah.
You have one toe, trivia time. One toe that perhaps has been broken or that is out of shape. I see a toe that is irregular.
I have a broken right toe right now.
I guess a broken toe might be out of shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the cyst removed or a problem with the cyst?
No.
Female organs, no? Any problem with the cyst or removal of same?
No, I've never had a cyst and I have one removed.
I would check for a possible minor non-malignant growth in the female organs.
She does have a circulatory problem. She does have an allergy to dusts. Another problem about the ovarian cyst, and she's not aware of this, but you are absolutely correct that she does have.
You get nothing serious.
Stuart, what is the significance of what you do for the rest of us?
To hopefully open the minds of the public at large, and science in particular, toward the possibility that we are dealing with reality, which I'm convinced we are.
I think it's excellent. I think the man has talent, and that I wish I had.
We're in Minneapolis, Minnesota with Dr. John Thomas Richards, professor of English at Columbia College, Fort Leonard Woods, Missouri. In front of Dr. Richards is a locked transparent box. The lock itself is sealed so that any tampering can be immediately seen. Inside the box are a number of different objects.
Psychokinesis, the the movement of material objects without the use of physical means. The box is standing alone in an isolated area, and yet the objects move without being touched by humans.
Could you tell us about the operation of the mini-lab?
Yes, the mini-lab was developed to attempt to capture paranormal movements which could take place at any hour of the day or night. Now, inside the box, there are various target objects. A balloon, a die, some coins, a pin, sitting on small micro switches. When the object would move, it would open a circuit. This would start motion picture, lights, and camera. This would capture any movement automatically, anytime during the day or night. And the clock would show the time at which these took place. At this point, the small plastic peanuts that are dangling inside the mini-lab are moving paranormally. Notice a night target object is moving across the mini-lab at this point. Some of the strings which are used to show movement inside the mini-lab have wrapped themselves around the night. Now you'll notice these rings. They're made of paper, and they're going to move very quickly and link. The friction apparently was too great. They catch fire and burn. The small yellow balloon has inflated from its position on a micro switch and pushing some of the other material to one side. You see how it's pressed against the glass. Now, if you notice what happens at this point, the balloon bursts and a fragment then moves and continues moving. There is a canister, a film canister that mailed itself to a lady in New York. There, a pen is printing very laboriously on the outside. There's another pen message being written.
How do we know that the film itself was never tampered with?
It would be possible to replicate this fraudulently, but we were not frauds. We certainly did not have the resources, and we certainly did not have the motivation. I believe that we have shown, without any possibility of doubt, that psychokinesis occurs. With enough information, we may be able to find out what psychokinesis is, how it works, and be able to obtain some control over it.
Inanimate objects in a sealed box, untouched by anyone, yet moving.
The crystal skull is at least 4,000 years old. How it was made is a mystery, since it bears no tool marks known to modern man. It was found by Anna Mitchell Hedges while on an archaeological expedition with her father.
Did you realize immediately that this was a very important find?
Yes, we did, because looking at the Maya people, of their joy and happiness, we realized that it was something very treasured to them. And then we were told by one of the Maya that this was used by the high priest of the Maya to will death or to heal. But to will death was in a kind way.
With us also is Miss Carol Davis, who is a sensitive.
When did you first come in contact with the skull?
It was about 2 years ago. At that time, the people that were in the group brought the skull into the center of the room, and they said, well, what do you feel about it? What do you see? And I really didn't. I didn't feel anything from it. And I thought, my thoughts were, well, if I just have a short sleep, they're not going to realize. They're going to think it's something profound, like a meditation or something of this nature. So I'll just have a short sleep. That's the last thing I remember. I remember then that I woke up and I opened one eye and looked around, and I knew that something had happened, but I hadn't been asleep. I have worked in an altered state of consciousness, and I know what that feels like. I really thought I had been asleep. I believe that it summons people to it. I don't think you come here just out of curiosity. I believe in some way it has the ability, call it what you may, to bring people that to it, that it needs to have some, maybe some advice given to the world or to individuals that will be of benefit. I strongly, I can't emphasize enough, believe that this is a gift to our time, and there is nothing evil or negative about it. It is solely for the good of mankind. We are aware of your presence. We will endeavor communication. Your role in the salvation of this small planet is to bring to the attention of all concerned the power of one mind, to make aware that power of thought transference is an energy being misused, that the power of light and sound is being misused, making an individual behave in a way other than his spiritual self would dictate. Your atmosphere is polluted. By the use of this energy. We have many of these receptacles about your earth. As each is discovered and directed into right hands, much information will be given. Not all information is in one. We have learned, as many have, total power corrupts. Each one is given a piece, a plan, a thought. When joined with the next, the plan will be made clear.
The skull, an instrument for communication of ideas from another dimension of time and space.
Max Beauvoir graduated from the College of the City of New York, then went on to Paris for postgraduate studies. When he returned to Haiti, he became a practicing priest in the voodoo religion and tradition.
The who, Alan, is probably the most important word in voodoo. It means spirits. And there is a spirit in each one of those three here.
Max, what is the ceremony?
This portion is an Ogu ceremony. It is a ceremony to the god of fire. Ogu Fe, or Ogu Ferai, the blacksmith god, is the god of fire. This ceremony to Ogu, our hero, we say hero because most of the Haitians who went into the war of revolution against the French settlers were all possessed by Ogun. That's why he's so fiery and so fierce.
Violent.
He's somewhat violent, so to speak, because he is the god of war, the god of fire.
Max, why did you participate suddenly when it wasn't planned in the ceremony?
The spirit has arrived much quicker than we expected. We can see the mumbo who is in trance right now. For a minute we were left without a head, so that's why I had to go and carry on the process. This ceremony that we're looking at right now is the ceremony to Bakulu Baka. Bakulu Baka is the good ancestors. This is the good ancestors who are showing their strength, their power over fire. They are strong, they are powerful, and they are the one showing us how strong they are.
How do they keep from getting burnt?
They cannot get burned because it is not them who is there, it is the spirit. It's like the one who is eating the glass. It cannot be cut because it is the spirits doing it. It is completely the spirit. The body that you see there is just a support, it is just a horse. In his hands, fire doesn't burn. This is why he is the god of fire. That's why he is powerful. That's why he is strong. That's why we do believe in him.
We're in Phoenix, Arizona, in the office of Frank Baranowski, parapsychologist, clinical hypnotist, and author. He's performed over 4,000 regressions with people from 25 countries. Regression is when a hypnotized subject is led to recall events in this lifetime, and then allowed to describe events that took place in a prior life. Now, this is very difficult to verify, but we're going to attempt to do this today.
Do you live alone?
No,
Who do you live with?
my family.
Oh, and your family?
Mm-hmm.
You have a mother and father?
Yes,
What's your mother's name?
Phyllis.
Your mother's name is Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
How do you and your mother get along?
Very good.
On your left is Phyllis Stevenson, the mother of the young lady called Davy or Devone. And on your right is Alma Baltus, the grandmother.
Do you feel that your daughter represents a reincarnation of your sister?
It appears to me that my daughter, Devone, is my sister artist.
When I reach the count of 8, will you be 8 years old in the life you have lived before the life is divine? 8 years old. Labor 5, sense are recovering. 7, 8. Oh, what's your name?
Artist.
Artist? Oh, when were you born, Artist?
June 9th, 1937, I think.
Who's your best friend?
My sister.
What's your sister's name?
Phyllis.
It started when she was about 5 years old. She would start relating things that her and I had done together, like in play. And at first I thought, my, that must be a vivid imagination. But then I got to thinking that there was no way that Devone could know the things that we did together.
What part of the room are you in?
On the couch.
Oh, do you like to sit on the couch?
Uh-huh.
What color is the couch?
Tan.
I see. How do you keep your house warm?
Oh, wood stove.
I see.
Under hypnosis, Artist was describing a sofa. When Devone was born, did you still have that sofa?
No.
You had a different sofa entirely?
Yes.
Okay, she also described a room, and you heated the room, but with a stove.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It is Christmas Day. Did you get any presents?
Yeah.
What kind of presents did you get?
A jewelry box.
Oh, with jewelry in it?
No.
What are you going to put in it?
Oh, I don't know. All kinds of things.
I see. What does it look like, the jewelry box?
It's brown. It's got pretty roses on it.
My mother gave this to me, and it kind of hurt to see it, because I remember my sister when she was sick and she couldn't see too well after she had her brain tumor. She would feel this, and she would open up the cover, and she saved handkerchiefs in there that she had gotten in cards from friends and neighbors. And my daughter Devone come home for Christmas, and she would come into my bedroom, and she would rub the top like that, and she'd peek inside. And I'd watched her for a few days. Finally, one day, she was rubbing her hands over it, looking inside, and I said, why do you do that? You know, she says, well, it's like it's mine.
How are you feeling now, Alice?
Oh, there, my head hurts some.
Your head hurts?
Mm-hmm.
What does the doctor say?
Oh, that I got a bump on my head.
You have a bump on your head?
Mm-hmm.
6 months have gone by. Where are you at now?
In a hospital.
In a hospital?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here?
My headache's worse. Can't see very well.
You can't see very well?
No.
What does Mommy and Daddy say?
Not much. They're upset.
Why are they upset?
I'm not getting better.
You what?
I'm not getting better.
How do you feel about it?
Kind of scared.
Scared? Does anybody come and talk with you?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Phyllis.
Is she there? What does Phyllis say?
She loves me.
Is there anything that you want to do? I see. All right. Is there one that you wish you were with? Now at the count of 3, you'll be wide awake, feeling fine. Wide awake, feeling fine. 1, 2, 3. Wide awake. Wide awake, feeling fine. Wide awake, feeling fine. Hi.
Hi.
You've been crying a bit.
Have you ever felt the presence of another person within yourself?
Yeah, when I was about 11, I had severe headaches. And I went to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. They said I have scar tissue on my brain, approximately here, and for no reason, you know. They don't know why.
I was very panicky because I had gone through a similar experience with my sister Artis.
This may seem like a silly question. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Oh, yes, I do. Shouldn't be scared of it.
Scared of death, you mean?
Scared of death, yeah.
I feel that life goes on. If it is our purpose to come back, we'll come back. And I just don't feel that death is the end. I think it is just a continuing of our existence.
Can you accept the idea that your granddaughter may be the reincarnation of your daughter?
Yeah, but it's kind of sad, you know. But I do.
I think it's almost a relief because I was very close to my sister Artis. In fact, before she died, her and I told each other, made a promise that no matter what happened to her, we would never be apart. She would never leave me and I'd never leave her. And I grieved for, you know, after she died, I grieved for many years.
Why have you decided to come again?
To be with Phyllis.
We are in a suburb of Osaka, Japan. Beneath me is a Buddhist temple. The ceremony is a 1,200-year-old tradition called Goma, exorcism through fire.
The priest summoned fire to drive away evil spirits, to cleanse the congregation. Spontaneous combustion appears to take place. Negative energy, represented by the wood, burns. Positive energy, represented by the paper, does not burn. An ancient ritual in the psychic connection, one that is still practiced today, exorcism through fire.
We come to Paris to visit Jean-Pierre Girard, a man whose credentials are extraordinary. He has demonstrated his unusual abilities before members of the prestigious French Academy of Science. This young Frenchman is one of the few psychics who can produce on command psychokinetic phenomena. These bars are made from titanium, a metal which is so strong that it is used in the construction of the Concorde supersonic aircraft. Now I'm coming up to show that there are no wires here. Nothing.
Prenez même peut-être au fond les objets, séparez-les, voilà.
Heavy metal, what looks like plastic. The object that is moving is made of Teflon, demonstrating that Jean-Pierre Girard affects materials other than metal. Although Jean-Pierre Girard is concentrating his energies on the plastic, it is the Teflon that continues to move. Jean-Pierre Girard is often exhausted by the strains of demonstrating psychokinetic phenomena. He may lose as much as 5 pounds in one session. Psychokinesis, an energy powerful enough to bend metal and to move objects. How to harness it and to what purpose, we are yet to discover. We are present at a party, a very special kind of party in Alexandria, Virginia, where we're going to see a group of people do something that many consider to be the province of just a few. And what these people are going to do, by using their psychic energy, is to bend metal. They're going to take stainless steel spoons and attempt to twist them. It's psychic, it's fun, and as I said, it's a party. Let's join it now.
Okay, ready? We're going to go for it this time.
Our host for the evening is Dr. John Alexander.
If you're ready to go, okay, this time you will follow me, so pick up your implement, either a fork or a spoon, whichever you have. All right, let's all get together. Let's kind of get centered. Let's just take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Get centered. Just relax. I'm going to count to 3, and we're all going to yell bend 3 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bend! 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 No, keep going. Keep going. Go ahead. Yeah, you got it. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. That's a heavy. Well, that was heavy. I think stop. Yeah, I'll come from an outside source. Yep, and just stop. Oh, the bowl. You got the bowl right off the bat. There you go. It's a party, it's fun, and it's supposed to be fun. When you have something happening in your area, you'll find it kind of goes like popcorn, where, you know, maybe Mary over here will pop one, and pretty soon the people alongside will go, and then it'll pop over here, and then pretty soon it's going all around the circle.
What did you do today? Well, I bent the fork, and then I bent the spoon, and then I bent the back again.
We're really getting into an art form by the time that we're done. People are making mobiles from them. There's a whole lot of different kinds of things that you can do. So look at some of the different types of twists that you can experience in this. Now, when we mention with spoons, you'll notice that the bowl of the spoon is tremendously harder to bend. You'll also find that some of them are twisted. You'll find we've had some that have been bent at a 90-degree angle like this, which metallurgically is about 100 times harder. Yeah. We'll have to make a collection at the end or something, you know, kind of, see it all. I would warn you, there is one danger in this. When you go home and you tell your friends that you learn how to bend silver, they say, well, let me see, just do one piece for me and one piece for me, and pretty soon you're out of silverware to eat with. It's also embarrassing at restaurants. You're sitting there and your friends, you watch their hands under the table or something, and they come out.
Metal bending, a demonstration of a power that most of us possess, but rarely put to use. Today you saw ordinary people use that power, a power that is part of the energy in the psychic connection. I'm in Sydney, Australia with Dr. John Mumford, an author and lecturer. Dr. Mumford, why are you dressed this way?
These are the traditional robes of a swami, of an Eastern order. And the word swami literally means a water walker, water symbolizing emotion, so one who can walk above the emotional content of their mind.
What is the demonstration we're going to see today?
This is an exquisite and potentially extremely dangerous demonstration in which the tongue is used as a vehicle to pull the mind, the body, and the self together into a total state of relaxation. And at that exact moment when the coordination is just precisely correct, then the flesh can be skewered with impunity. This particular technique is quite dangerous. I have to emphasize that. The tongue contains more pain receptors and is highly vascular than almost any other area in the body with the exception of the eyeballs, the eardrum, and the genitals. So it's extremely delicate. I use it on very special occasions as a special demonstration of how it's possible to coordinate and to just pull oneself into a relaxed state. I have to emphasize it's very, very easy. You can just literally hemorrhage very seriously with your tongue. And in that state of relaxation, the body manifests a moment where there is no hemorrhage, there is no pain. What is the experience of pain rather than the perception of pain? When we perceive pain as something we've magnified in our own mind. In an altered state of consciousness from meditation, pain is just merely an experience like any other experience, a taste or a stroking of the skin. Unfortunately, we magnify it into something else. If we can induce a profound enough state of relaxation, then such things as hemorrhage, infections, a severe perception of pain just becomes completely eradicated. Most of the arteries are designed to be self-sealing, provided we are relaxed. It's when an artery is cut and we're very excited, the blood pressure rises, get a lot of hemorrhage. If you can induce a deep enough relaxation, the blood in the veins will coagulate, the arteries will self-seal, vasoconstrict, and there is no perception of pain, only an experience of sensation. It's a sensation of euphoria, of ecstasy, of being out of the self, of being apart from the body, and able to coordinate the body, the mind, and the self into one unit in a state of relaxation.
This is a truck route in northeastern Brazil. It is simple and rural. Modern technology is just beginning to make inroads into the primitive life of the people here. And yet, in this roadside cabin, a woman named Donna Cicera performed complex surgery without anesthesia or the use of any modern surgical procedures. We are with Dr. Lee Poulos, Clinical Assistant Professor, Department of Psychiatry, University of British Columbia. Dr. Poulos, would you describe the film for us? And for the audience, I would like to remind you that 1 signals blood, and 2 signals an all clear.
She was called Dona Cicera formally, but as we got to know her, she permitted us, or we were allowed to call her Maria.
Would you now describe what we're seeing?
The first surgery is of a man who had breathing difficulties, and she made an incision on his left side. And the operation took approximately 20 minutes. And the incision is about 2.5, 3 inches wide. There was some discomfort experienced by the man, but he admitted to us later that he was very frightened.
What is the psychological effect on the patient seeing all his own blood? I think the average Westerner might just get sick.
In these instances, of course, it didn't have any effect. The patient just seemed totally nonplussed by it all. He seemed bored. He seemed to be preoccupied with other things. It just accepted it.
Acceptance and faith.
That's right, totally.
As opposed to the surgeries that we've seen in the Philippines, the psychic surgeries, her surgeries remained open afterwards.
Yes. Her openings were much wider. There was definitely a separation of the fascia, the skin, and you could, on occasion, see inside the body and see the organs. And when she closed, she never sutured. She would go into a deeper trance, and the 2 pieces of skin would come together. And then she would simply put a bandage on over the incision and say, "You can go now."
Would the wound then heal in the normal way as we know it?
No. The wound, the scars would remain, but a scar that under ordinary circumstances would take 5 or 6 weeks to heal would heal in approximately 1 to 2 days. It's almost as if she entered into an Einsteinian time-space frame and would accelerate time and accelerate the healing process. So you'd get a scar in 2 days, it would take 5 weeks.
Was she well known in Brazil?
Dr. Santos, Jose Santos from Aracaju, a physician, used to refer patients to Maria, and he himself spent many, many hours observing her and working alongside her.
Dr. Santos, we know you are a medical doctor. What are your qualifications?
I'm a professional radiologist. I have been a professor of radiology at the medical school of the University of Sergipe for 15 years. Cicera Maria's work was extremely impressive because she was uneducated and she remained unconscious during all of her surgeries. I once asked her how she did it, and she confessed complete ignorance. She was only conscious of her surgeries after they had taken place.
Was she known in the West?
Yes, Dr. Beverly Morgan, an ophthalmological surgeon from San Francisco, came down and observed Maria.
My initial reaction was that it raised a lot of questions, both about what Donna Maria was doing as well as what we as conventional doctors do.
Dr. Poulos, would you tell us now about the second patient?
The patient had complained of grand mal seizures, which was interfering, despite medication, it was interfering with his daily living. And Maria had him lie on his stomach on the table, and she simply took a pair of scissors. She never used a scalpel, took a pair of scissors and opened up the back of his scalp. And then, as you can see, she took a hammer and was chipping away. And the
patient is not being held
Oh, the
down.
patient was very bored. He was lying on his, resting his hands on his chin, and there was blood streaming down to form a big pool of blood. At one point, he was actually playing X's and O's of his blood.
Facci la vita. Prego, lo tirato.
How was the clinic financed?
Totally by donations. She never charged for any of the healing or any of the surgeries. As a matter of fact, she would never touch money. She didn't think it was very spiritual. And people would leave enough money to buy medication and supplies.
She never physically touched money?
Never. And at another point, she asked him to help clean the table, and he got up and cleaned the table of all the blood and clots and pushed it into a pail on the floor, and then went back down in his own comfortable, nonplussed fashion.
How long did the surgery take?
But this particular one took about 30 to 35 minutes. And again, she did not suture, and when he got up, he had a bandage on his head, and there was no discomfort to the man. About an hour and a half after the surgery that you just observed, we were playing soccer, football with him outside. The thing that impressed me about Maria was the fact that she had no knowledge, no reading or writing abilities, that everything that came through to her was on an inspired basis and probably spiritual.
Frequently, she would have a prayer read by her assistant, and everyone would stand in a very reverent way around as this was done.
She never talked about it, but there seemed to be entities or energies working through her.
She explained that she heard a voice in her ear that told her what was wrong and what therapy the patients needed.
Someone said that she had a team of doctors that would communicate to her, and on occasion, I could see her cocking her ear and listening. She would nod her head and then proceed to do thoracic surgery, neurosurgery, orthopedic surgery. So that she somehow seemed to be getting paranormal information that she would utilize and translate into action with the patient.
Did Maria anticipate her own death?
Yes, she did. 1 year prior to her death, she told me, she said, "This is a very short incarnation for me. Make sure if you're going to film that you get good film, because I'm not going to be around that much longer." Almost a year to the day, she passed on, and she died of a cerebral aneurysm.
Her premature death was a great loss for Brazilian and international parapsychological research.
Dr. Morgan, how do you explain this extraordinary phenomena?
Well, I'm not really sure that one can explain it with conventional thinking, and I'm not even sure that it's important to explain it. I think that it might just be more important and significant by being allowed to experience these kinds of healings, to learn that there is another way of doing things.
If we think that this ordinary, everyday, sensory kind of consciousness is all there is, perhaps that's all we'll see. But if we consider the possibility of wider spectrums of consciousness, and as we learn to shift into different spectrums of consciousness, perhaps we can begin appreciating different levels of reality that go with these different levels of awareness.
This is Oscar, a 40-year-old tortoise. He has something on his mind. We hope to find out just what that might be by talking with Fred Kimball, a man who has a very special talent, that of communicating with all kinds of animals. Mr. Kimball, can you give us a reading on the tortoise?
Well, I've been trying to get the tortoise to tell me about his life, and I tried to find out if it had 9 months and 9 years, but a 9 was the strongest in his mind, so it sounded like the 9 months and 9 years.
9 months.
9 months.
That's how long I've had him.
So I said, which side of the house are you on? So it says the east side, which I tried to see where the sun comes up in the morning, but it said the sun was blocked. So I couldn't get a definite picture. So is it on the east side of the home?
Yeah, it is. It's on the east side.
It's on the east side. It is the sun blocked, as it said it was?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So I tried to see the sun coming up, to see the picture it has of the sun coming up, but it said the east side. Now let's ask some scandal about this. Tell me about the lady. And it claims that you always had the ability to be a kind of a nurse. You've never been a nurse, have you?
No, I haven't. That's one of my dreams.
When you concentrate on animals, and both of you are concentrating, you're in the same conscious the animal is. So you're another llama or another animal, the same conscious. The rest of the time you're humans that are, well, oddballs to the llama. It has a place where it says that I'm up and I can look down at a busy road below me. Would you know where that is? Is that present or past picture?
No, he can look down and see the roads below him. Yeah, he's basically above the roads.
That's what it said. He sits down and I look down at the road. Let's see what else it has to say. And it talks about someone around who got a hurt leg.
There is one of the horses that has a hurt right leg.
Dr. Baxter, how accurate was Fred Kimball?
I would say he was very accurate. The description of the road that he was above, there is a road that comes in. The ranch is basically on a hill. It's actually called Stallion Hill. The thing about a hurt right leg, we have a horse that had a fractured bone in the right leg back in February, and so there's a great deal of concern at the ranch about that particular horse. How is his feeling about a mate?
Just says ready. Well, I'll ask Freckles some questions. I said, tell me about the lady you're with. Says she likes to talk, so she's not a quiet one. I'm going to ask about Charles. Says he likes to go up in the air. Now, I don't know if that means he likes to fly or fly places, or he likes to go up in the mountains. I'd be interested to find out. It claims he's quite, I don't know if you'd use the word nature lover. It just says spiritual. Or it could be he's in some kind of metaphysics. I wouldn't know. It just says that about him. It considers him fairly strong. He doesn't look that way, but I suppose it means determined. But it says he's fairly strong.
I have a commercial pilot's license, and I've been studying in the metaphysical areas. He's very correct there. Handling the horse has helped my strength, of course. And he was very accurate. I enjoyed it. It's amazing.
Well, I've asked the rabbit a couple of questions, and it's hesitated before it answered me. So I'll try again. It says a home of my own, and it said I have a wire fence, and I've tried to dig a hole into the ground. So that's what it's been talking about. Would that make any sense?
He's always trying to dig under the fence.
Always trying to dig under the fence. I'm going to ask some scandal about Sharon. And she's had trouble in the neck. Has that been taken care of?
Yes, lower part of my neck.
So she moves her head sometimes in the morning a little bit different. Still talking about having a hard adjustment to make, and I'm trying to get its timeline, how far back, if it's in months or years, but it says I've had a painful adjustment to make. It's the second. It says about a year and a half ago.
About a year and a half ago, I bought Murphy, but I bought Murphy as Maggie. And so Maggie was taken to the doctor and became Murphy. So he had a painful adjustment to make.
Sharon, have you ever met Mr. Kimball before?
No, but I'd sure like to get to know him better. What a beautiful gift.
What's happening here, Delano?
Now they're beginning to have the power.
I see. These are students?
Yeah.
All of them?
They are all students.
And will they all be psychic surgeons?
Yeah. Someday, not now.
And they're all working on the Bible, is that right?
Yeah.
We are in a school for psychic surgeons located in a church outside of Manila.
What is happening now? Is the power coming in?
Yeah, the power. The power of the protector is now going into them.
Does each man have a different power?
Yeah, different protector. Like this man, the protector is Saint Titus. The other one is Saint Timothy.
Yes. Now, Delano,
yeah,
you're taking some tape now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the tape?
I will see if they can cut this by their power.
By the power of the mind to cut the tape. All right.
Hold this.
She's holding the tape with one hand. The tape is held taut.
Sa ilalim magmumula. Power. Tama yan.
She reaches up her scriptures and she's literally tapping the scriptures for power.
Try to reach your 80% power. Come on. Hapitin mo. Hapitin mo parang. 80% power.
They are practicing on tape now.
Yeah.
They practice psychic surgery on tape. When will they be able to practice on people?
Well, if that power will be maintained to their body, if they can maintain it. Because as of now, they cannot maintain. See what happened to that lady. For the third attempt, that she did it.
How long do they go to school?
Well, depends upon their capability. Sometimes 1 year, 2 years, sometimes months like that.
Can I ask you what you charge?
Charge money like
Yes, money, yes.
No, we didn't.
You don't charge for psychic surgery or for healing?
No.
We're in a classroom in the chemistry building of Los Angeles City College. And we're going to see something that involves not the chemistry of the test tube, but the chemistry of the mind. The students in this course are teachers, engineers, senior citizens, a wide spectrum of people from every walk of life. And what they've come to learn is the most modern version of a most ancient of all sciences, dowsing. What is dowsing? Well, we'll find out from an expert, Toby Chamberlain. Toby, what is dowsing?
Dowsing is being able to find something without the use of your outer senses.
And it can be taught?
Surely, that's what my pupils are doing down there. They're looking for water underneath the astroturf on my dowsing simulator. The matter of instrument is a matter of choice, and almost anything can be used as an instrument for dowsing. For example, pendulums, you can dangle some keys, you can dangle a watch fob, you can dangle almost anything for a pendulum. But there are certain instruments that are the most popular and also are sold on the market. And there are the L rods. You see them with bent pieces of metal. And when they cross, that means the dowser is over whatever he's looking for underground. When they fly apart, that means no. The answer is no, that they're not near it.
Excuse me, sir, what is your name?
Ed Lyman Weber.
Mr. Weber, what does that mean if the fork is pointing down?
That's a forked stick, and that when it hits the spot where the water is or what you're looking for, it pulls it right down. You have to hold your hands tight or it'll go too fast for you.
Does it always work?
Yes, it always works for me. Soon when I hit the element that I'm looking for, then it goes down, see?
Can I ask you how old you are?
Well, I'll be 86 in December.
Why is dowsing important here in the West?
It's terrifically important because of the water shortage.
Well, professionally, I douse for water for my water well drilling company. I do the map dowsing generally.
You can douse for minerals, you can douse for gold, for treasure, for lost people. In fact, you can find anything with dowsing.
Oh, yes. I used it to find an office building about 10 years ago when I had to move my business rather quickly.
We bought a claim, and we found gold on it.
It's amazing to watch them grow in their ability not only to find things, but in their ability to size up situations, get along in life in a way that they were unable to get along before, because it opens whole new vistas for them.
Well, there's a lot of things you learn. Even amateurs teach you.
As I get into it more and more, why, you enjoy it more and more. You get more able.
I think it's an extension of your subconscious. Actually, you don't need these things. It's all already in your mind.
Toby, how long have you been a dowser?
2 years.
Just 2 years. Mm-hmm. How did you get involved?
Well, I was rather highly motivated. My daughter disappeared many years ago. I've been looking for her ever since.
You've not found her yet. But you keep on dowsing. This is Reverend Weston D. Bailey of the Aquarian Foundation. Reverend Bailey, what is the Aquarian Foundation?
Alan, the Aquarian Foundation is a New Age church believing in and demonstrating New Age principles. Reverend Reinhardt established the Aquarian Foundation in the year 1955.
Scan the mouth. Initial the tape with any identification mark that you desire so that you know the tape is not switched for some other tape.
He has cooperated with scientists in top universities in over 20 different countries. And there have been such manifestations through his physical phenomena as flesh and blood materialization under the most controlled of scientific conditions, the changing of water into wine.
Have you any idea what might happen tonight?
I never know what's going to happen, Alan.
Check the mark.
This is Dr. John Leone.
But I think what impressed me was the amount of material, foreign objects that came out of his mouth, and also the material that came from the eyelids as he seemed to pop out things from the lower eyelids the way you would take a lens out of the eye.
They appeared to be very genuine.
This is Colonel Chris Wilcox of the United States Air Force.
The physical phenomena that I saw, the gemstones falling from the eyes and so forth, taken in the whole, I think it's a very impressive display.
This is Officer Steve Young of the Honolulu Police Force. Officer Young, would it be possible to hide such an object in the cavity of the eye or in the mouth, throat?
In my professional opinion, perhaps it is possible for a single object to be hidden, but when you have numerous physical objects coming from the eyeballs, my answer is no, it cannot be done, it is impossible.
Materializing objects, going past known dimensions of form and time, occupying a space in the psychic connection. These women have just undergone prior life regressions. One woman comes out from under the hypnosis normally. The other woman appears to go forward into time.
What is happening to the people?
Oh, they're rotting.
The people are rotting? Are they all dead?
No, that would be better. They're just rotting.
All right, now, count of three, you will be gone. At the count of three, you will be gone.
It's all falling off.
Okay, at the count of three, it'll be gone. At the count of three, it is fading away. 1, 2, 3.
We're supposed to forget.
All right. Well, what is it you're not supposed to forget? Tell me, what is it you're not supposed to forget? All right, Marianne. All right, now, hold my hand. Here, I'm applying pressure here in the third eye, and it'll fade. It's fading away.
But I'm supposed to forget.
You won't forget, but the emotion will be gone. The scene is there, but the emotion will fade. The emotion will fade. It's fade. was it you saw? Without emotion, you can tell me now. There were a lot of people?
Yes.
And how were they dressed?
Just like us.
Just like us. All right. And something was happening to them?
Yes.
The skin was falling from their bodies? I see. All right. What was the scene like? Was it in the country, or was it in a city, or a village, or a town?
I don't know.
All right.
It was... I think it was a nuclear explosion. It wasn't in the past.
You think it's something yet to come?
Yes.
All right. Now just relax. There's nothing.
But it wasn't a war either.
It wasn't a war either.
No.
I see. All right.
It was just...
An accident? A nuclear accident?
Maybe.
All right.
It just went all over.
All right, just relax now. Just relax. Just relax. Now, you feel my hand. There's nothing you can do about it. It may not happen, Marianne. It may not happen. It may not happen. Okay.
Oh.
Here, let me wipe your eyes.
Everywhere I looked, people were running around, and they looked the same. They were just like they were breaking out and had no skin and had holes in them, like it was eating them up. I didn't have a feeling that it was a foreign power that was doing it to us. I had a feeling that we were doing it to ourselves. Like an accident due to an earthquake, maybe, because I saw a big flash. But also it was like seepage, and people were in caves, and even there they were not safe because it was all contaminated. And I somehow, despite everything, I had a feeling it can be prevented if enough people care.
We are here in Belgrave Square, London, at the headquarters of the Spiritualist Association of Great Britain. We are here to witness a unique demonstration of mediumship. Irene Taylor, clairvoyant, and Carl Poge, psychic artist.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Irene and I are going to attempt to demonstrate that there is a life after death through our respective forms of mediumship. I attempt to link with someone coming to me from the world of spirit. Someone that I do not see or hear, but sense. And then I attempt to translate that impression into a face. Irene will attempt to attune herself to the same personality and identify who the portrait is for in the audience. There are several people here tonight, but the strongest link at the moment is a gentleman who obviously is rather nervous about the contact, and he comes in quite strongly, trying to make a link with me. I've got a young man here. I would say I was probably killed in the war. May have been an accident, but I'm going back more to that sort of period. He wouldn't be more than about 19 or 20.
I feel I want to be over there, please. We are linking to him. Right.
Oh.
Don't tell us too much. Right. Well, would you understand, too? I mean, he volunteered. He didn't have to go, did he? This is it. He volunteered. But he has a brother that is still on the earth.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. And also, please, who is Sarah?
Sarah, no.
Mm-hmm. And there's an Alice.
That's no.
Right. Haven't you saved up enough yet, they said?
Well, I don't think we ever will now, things are going up.
Shall we send it to the House of Commons? Right, wait a minute, Dan. There's a young girl linking with you on the earth. Right. She's, oh gosh, she's full of life.
Yes.
You know, I feel as I could do a dance or something. It is, I linked with her. Because They said I was to tell you not to worry about her. She's got her head screwed on right. That's their expression, you see. And who is it, please, that has to go through a test of some kind?
My daughter is going through it at the moment.
All right. There is also, please, a John and a Tom in spirit.
Yes.
Right. Your mother said, don't wear one pair of shoes all the time. Wear them once and then something.
That's very funny. I do stick to these because they're comfortable.
Your mother's probably thinking of the repair bill, you see. It's cheaper to buy.
It's not worth it.
But that's what she said, you see. All right, love. Look, would you also understand, please, why your mother would say to you, trust nobody. And if they prove that you can trust them, then it's good.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that we have, in some way perhaps, proved to you that there is a life after death.
On your left is a coral pole's drawing. On your right is an actual photograph of the same subject obtained after the spirit session. Los Angeles, the television and motion picture capital of the world, is of course one of the great centers of communication. But today here in Los Angeles, you will hear something so extraordinary, it goes beyond any known type of communication. It is the voice of one of Hollywood's most noted screenwriters speaking to a friend. But you can ask, what is so extraordinary about that? The words he spoke were uttered 13 days after he died. And Bart Ellis, the man he spoke to, is with us now. When did you first meet William Welch?
I met Bill Welch in 1972.
William Welch wrote such properties as Towering Inferno, Land of the Giants, Swiss Family Robinson. He was a noted author, a noted writer, worked in films and in television. How many paranormal voices did Bill Welch collect?
Over a period of years, he collected over 25,000 voices.
What kind of equipment did he use?
Used an ordinary tape recorder, had a inexpensive Sony, same as I'm using right here, and picked up some very good voices on just a ordinary tape recorder.
Can we hear a sample of one of William Welch's voices?
Sure. I'll play you a sample. Before I do, I want you to know that the voice that I'm going to play you was recorded originally just once, but for playback purposes now, you'll hear it 3 times. And it's really important when you listen to the voice that you listen under the tape sound, because a lot of people get distracted by that. Try to listen under it, and you'll hear the voice. First voice is a young lady who gives her name, which is Mary Ann. This is how it sounds. This tape was recorded, and it didn't even pass through the recording heads. When it was first heard, you hear a woman speaking in German saying, Lieben hören allen, which means the dear ones hear everything. And here it is.
Lieben hören allen. Lieben hören allen. Lieben hören allen.
That, incidentally, is what we would consider to be a high broadcast quality voice, and as you can tell by the sound itself, the total quality is good, and you could hear everything without having to strain. And whereas most of the voices that you receive are low amplitude whispers, this is an exceptionally good voice.
And now will you tell us a little bit of what happened after Bill's death?
Well, Bill and I had a pact that whoever died first would try to get on the other person's tape. Said, Bill, if you can give me some evidence on tape, I'll tell Kitty. Kitty is his wife. And the voice that came on right after I said Kitty said, tell her, which was a very intelligent, very appropriate type of statement to make when I said, if you come on the tape, I'll tell your wife. And he said, tell her. And I believe that that's him. Here it is.
But that is only part of the Bill Welch story. For shortly after this first message was received, Bill Welch spoke again and to a classroom full of students.
Franz F., one of the country's leading parapsychologists, was there.
Bill's widow, Kitty, and his nephew, Robert, came to my class and played a tape that Bill had made in his own voice while alive. That after listening to it, 2 words came on the tape, and we felt that it was indeed Bill Welch's voice, and it says, "Robert, teach." And here it is. Those words were played over 4 times with some syllables in between, but his wife, Kitty, and Robert felt very strongly that that was Bill's voice. I believe so, too.
And the story continues. We're in Washington, D.C. with Kitty Welch, Bill Welch's widow.
My sister and I taped, and I said, Bill, we had a great reception, and when I played back the tape, it said terrific and all's fine.
What does all this mean to you?
It means to me that I know definitely from, not just from Bill's experiences, but from my own, that there is another dimension and that our separation is only temporary. And I enjoy living, but I am also looking forward to joining him again.
We are in Recife, the largest city in northeastern Brazil. This building belongs to the Spiritist Federation of Pernambuco. These people who have come from all over are waiting to see Dr. Adolf Fritz. Dr. Fritz performs spiritual and physical medicine and surgery. Dr. Fritz died in 1917. This man is Dr. Edson Carvalho de Queiroz. He is a medical doctor, a practicing obstetrician and gynecologist. He is also Dr. Fritz. As Dr. Fritz, he diagnoses, treats, and performs surgery. He uses no anesthesia, no antisepsis, and no antibiotics. Dr. Fritz has invited us to visit him and to watch his work. A warning signal will alert you to the sight of blood. 2 means an all clear.
Pensamento Nosso Senhor.
Think in Christ.
Você segura daqui. Olhando para a agulha.
Look at the needle.
Olhando para a agulha.
Look at the needle.
No canto, aqui, meu irmão, no canto da agulha. Não tira o olho daí, hein?
Please pay attention to the needle.
Esse tratamento
This treatment
é feito convencionalmente
is done normally with normal medicine
pela oftalmologia cirúrgica
by ophthalmological surgery,
utilizando o processo
utilizing a process
de sucção,
of suction, a suction process.
Ou seja, processo da raspagem.
He wants you to use your hands.
Isso, coloca no olho dele e passa para um lado para o outro. Ele não sente, amolece, irmão.
He says, notice the patient feels no pain at all.
Yes, the patient is feeling obviously no pain. My finger is rubbing against the pupil of the eye.
O médico falou que eu tinha perdido 40% da visão.
His doctor told him he had lost 40% of his sight.
Do you believe that you are healed?
Você acredita que você foi curado agora?
Eu acredito.
I believe.
Thank you. We hope so.
Molar, hein?
Relaxa o corpo. Não há necessidade. Não há dor.
Telling the patient to relax, that he will feel no pain.
Já. Ok. Registrar mais de perto o som. Do contato da lâmina com o tecido ósseo.
He's asking our producer to put the mic closer so we can hear the sound of the metal touching the flesh and the bone.
What was your problem?
Qual foi o seu problema?
O problema foi desvio na coluna.
Okay.
Desvios na coluna.
Defects in his total spinal column.
Does he believe he was being healed?
Você acredita que foi curado agora?
Graças a Deus.
He says, thank God I was healed now.
Dr. Poulos, how do you explain that? I don't think anyone can explain it. There are very few similarities to Western medicine. There is some cutting in the body, but it appears to be symbolic. The surgery that he did in the eye, definitely, there was no antisepsis or anesthetic or eye drops or antibiotics. The whole area was quite dirty. People were coughing all around the patient.
He placed some saliva into the eye. What was that?
He gave us a demonstration that he was applying anesthesia to her eye through his spit. And he did it more as a demonstration because he could do the same thing just by looking at her.
2 needles are in the eye.
Você não está sentindo dor, hein? Você está com medo, hein? Sem necessidade. Está sentindo dor, hein?
He's asking her if she's feeling pain.
Você está sentindo dor, hein? E por que está gemendo?
Porque a primeira vez furada da agulha.
Porque você está vendo que eu estou enfiando a agulha. Porque você está percebendo. Quando um paciente, mesmo que diga que sente algia, dor, que sentiu alguma dor, embora pouco.
He explained, he asked the lady if she was feeling pain, and she said no, and he asked her why she was trembling. She said it was the first time she's ever had an operation like this. And he explained to the patient that the reason she was trembling is because she saw the needle that he just stuck in her eye. He said that our fear is at times connected with the visual sight. And that he promises us that she felt no pain. It was a psychological effect which made her tremble. He just made an observation that the problem with conventional medicine is that they only treat the physical body, whereas spiritual medicine, as he is now practicing, treats the etheric body or the spiritual body.
Oxigenado. Mas, hein? Respirando pela boca. Não te preocupa.
He just asked the patient to breathe through his mouth.
Já. Não faça isso.
Scissors is now in right up to the hilt.
Como está se sentindo?
Normal.
Sentindo dor?
Pouco.
He just asked the patient how he was feeling. The patient said normal. He asked him if he was feeling pain, and the patient said a little bit.
Todos esses pacientes, hein? Além
Yes, he's explaining that all these patients he's seeing now he has never seen before. All of these people are now having their first contact with him, their first meeting with him. And it's important to add here that all of this treatment is being done for free.
Pick this up.
Nasal.
Demonstrate. That's
que você está
length
fazendo
of
lá?
penetration into the nostril, which is approximately 6 inches.
What can we say about what we've just seen? Maybe simply that we must examine our attitude as to what we perceive consciousness to be.
The further extension of our human potential may very well lie in the exploration of these different dimensions of consciousness.
2,500 years ago, Aristotle admonished his fellow citizens to know thyself, advice which is pertinent to this day. Though rockets may propel robots to Mars and beyond, the greater adventure lies not in the outer reaches of the cosmos, but within man himself. It is far more profound to inquire, to search, to understand the nature of man, to comprehend the psychic connection, in the hope that one day he will discover such powers as will enable him to transcend ignorance and to transform the world. This is Alan Newman. Additional programs of approximately 27 minutes apiece can be purchased for $16.95 by utilizing the form that accompanies this cassette. In Mexico City, a classroom of children demonstrate skin vision. They are able to see through their fingertips. Now, what are they going to try to do with the flowers?
I'm going to try to open the petals of the flower, sending energy.
These children range from what age?
I think the younger here is about 6 years old.
The youngest about 6. How young do you work with them?
From 3 years old to 13 years old. Queda una rosa abierta, preciosa.
What do you say?
That see an open flower, very beautiful open flower.
To visualize the flower opening? And then as they visualize the flower opening, the flower opens. The children bend metal. What are they doing with the hands?
They are sending energy to the spoon.
How are you able to do that? We watch one student hypnotize a rabbit.
Agarro al conejo de las orejas, se le hace un poco así, ¿no? Que se tranquilice. Luego le agarramos las patas.
She's taking the rabbit and she will pull the rabbit. And she sends energy through her eyes to the eyes of the rabbit.
Ya después, echamos un poco de energía.
Then I send more energy.
Luego, lo estiramos muy bien y lo vamos viendo.
I continue to look at him.
Donna Cicera, psychic surgeon.
The next surgery is of a man with visual problems, and she did a most extraordinary thing, again, without any antisepsis, any anesthetic. She inserted a hypodermic needle into the eyeball. Under ordinary circumstances, this would probably collapse the eyeball, but in this case, paranormally, it did not. And the man was able to withstand the discomfort, and he chatted with Marie at different points of the surgery.
We visit with the crystal skull.
In a way, other than his spiritual self would dictate. Your earth is being invaded. Your earth is erupting. Your crops are failing. Diseases unknown are manifesting. Your atmosphere is polluted. By the use of this energy. When we, as masters, understood we could not change the course.
We witness the complete hypnotic session wherein a woman recalls her prior lifetime when she was her own aunt.
You have left the body, you are no longer in the body. I want you to go to the place where your body is buried. 1, 2, 3. Can you see the body?
Yes.
Where lies the body?
Cemetery.
It's in the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of marker there so that we would know where to look for your body?
Uh-huh.
What does it look like?
It's brown. With white letters.
Oh, is there any writing there?
Uh-huh.
What does it say?
It says my name.
What is that again?
It says artist.
Artist's footstone. I have a photograph that I had kept from my daughter Devone at 10 months of age, and my mother had kept a little snapshot of my sister at 10 months of age. Here they're older, they're 5 years old. This one is Devone, my daughter, and this is my sister, Artist.
Dr. Fritz, psychic surgeon. Dr. Fritz uses knives and needles. The knife does not hurt. When he cuts into the patient's body, there's little blood. The wound from the unsterile knife does not become infected. He's made an incision, and 2 needles are placed in.
Without hemorrhaging, he's making the diagnosis say there is no hemorrhaging.
Por intermedio das agulhas.
You know, the function of the needles.
Possuidor de metal.
Which contains metal, which is important.
Material. Verdadeiro imã para o fluido.
The needle's function is a magnet for the substance which has to be removed.
É isso que os espíritos podem fazer.
What just took place, this surgical procedure we have just seen, he has dematerialized the formation of tumors.
In addition to the preceding cassettes, you can order a film on voodoo as practiced in Haiti. This 97-minute cassette, The Voodoo Connection, has never before been seen. Voodoo conjures up images of mysterious ceremonies, frightening ceremonies, bloody with the sacrifice of animals, strange and secret rites. This is Dambala, the ritual of the supreme being of voodoo, father to all the gods. Voodoo zombies, the living dead, entranced by the black magic of the voodoo priest, a Hollywood myth. Yet in our time, a few hundred miles from the United States, zombies do exist.
Who is this man?
This man is a zombie.
Voodoo, paganism, magic, the power of the curse, voodoo dolls, instruments of evil. Death visited upon the enemy by the sticking of pins into an image. Voodoo is music and art. This regal palace, which boasted the first non-electric air conditioning system in the New World, once rivaled for elegance and sophistication anything in Europe. It now sits in ruins in one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. This fortress, built in 1820 with the forced labor of 200,000 freed slaves, is guarded by 365 cannon and 500,000 cannonballs. Yet it never has once been attacked. Haiti, a sensual land steeped in mystery. We invite you to join us as we explore its legends and history, the evocative rites and the throbbing drums. Most of all, we will explore voodoo. Is it religion or pagan cult? Voodoo is medicine and science. Voodoo, with its violence and its mad, frantic dancing, earthy, sensual, suggestive of orgies. This is the Feast of the Dead, presided over by Getty, guardian of the dead. A week-long festival when all man's animal instincts are given free rein in a wild celebration of life. All links in the Voodoo Connection. If you wish to make any purchases, fill out the enclosed form that comes with this cassette, or make one up from what you are now seeing. Thank you. These are approximately 27-minute programs on individual subjects. The Voodoo Connection is a never-before-seen 97-minute documentary on Haitian Voodoo. The Psychic Connection is a 107-minute motion picture shot on 20 different locations worldwide. The content is startling. Psychic phenomena is demonstrated in a totally visual way. On 5 continents, occult, ritual, and scientific events are shown as they actually occur.
It's gonna be hard. I'll take you away. Roger will never, never know.
I'm evil. I'm sick. Oh, she's gonna leave.
Witness to murder. Vivid and startling, this is one of the most remarkable hypnotic sessions ever filmed. A woman in a college classroom in Arizona is brought back to a life she lived before almost a century ago. We are with her as her life unfolds. Finally, we relive the extraordinary sensational events leading up to murder.
Stop laughing at me. Stop laughing. It's not true. It's not true. She pulled. Oh. Oh no. She's scratching my face. And it hurts. It hurts terrible.
What's happening now?
She wants to leave, and I'm telling her she can't leave, and...
Yes.
Oh, what to do, what to do. I have to keep her here. I have to make her listen.
Yes.
I pull the cushion off the chair. Stop laughing and listen. Listen to me. Oh, I put the cushion on her face. She's scratching my face. Oh, it hurts, but I have to stop her. Just stop her. I put the cushion. She's stopping. She's stopping. She's stopping.